All right, we got a catch-up video. What I mean by that is we got to catch up. But the reason is I had done Canadian Peak versus all the other Canadian whiskeys, and I had, okay, not great, but it was a battle. It did well. Wasn't as bad of a battle as the Irish whiskey, where I only got 5 right and 4 wrong. That was a tough one. But I was at Mathern's, the local, not the local store. There's more than one. A local store here, and they had the other day. I saw, they got this on the shelf for $8.99. Now I know that's a cheaper than normal price, not way cheaper, but $8.99 for Canadian Black Velvet Canadian whiskey. One of the top selling Canadian whiskeys in the world. Not my favorite, honestly, but a lot of people like it. Introduced in 1951, blended at birth. That's a trademark, blended at birth. They trademarked that phrase. Distilled and aged 3 years in oak. 3 years minimum age, just young. This under the supervision of the Canadian government. They're showing a shield with a crown for King Charles III. Who was probably not the king when this bottle was made or filled. Imported and bottled by Black Velvet Import Company, Bardstown, Kentucky. So it's blended, it's distilled, blended, and aged in Canada, but it's bottled in Kentucky. There's an 8-year version called Black Velvet Reserve. You're not going to find that for $8.99, let me promise you. But been on the market over 70 years. It's owned by Heaven Hill these days. They bought it a few years ago from whoever owned it before, because it's changed hands a number of times. I can't remember who used to own it. But it was, one of these other big companies. Could have been Diageo, but I don't think it was, actually. But you lose track after a while. But I know it's Heaven Hill now. So it's bottled by Heaven Hill. Say the Black Velvet Distilling Company. Yeah. It's Heaven Hill. Just look on the heavenhill.com website. They're going to show Black Velvet right there. Bud Fox says, cheers, clinking the glass. Cheers to you. Okay, so now Canadian Peak, introduced in 1961. And I'm pretty sure it was introduced by Barton Distilling. And it was a much different bottle. This is a fancy bottle, narrow on one side, wide on the other, with a real wooden cap and a cork. But it was only $15.99 at a regional store close to the Baton Rouge in New Orleans, from where I am. But it makes sense that it was started by Barton if that was the case, because Sazerac bought Barton Distilling in 2009, so they got a hold of all their stuff, No, I mean, okay, anyway, real cork, y'all, real cork. Now, Black Velvet, we'll get to Black Velvet in a minute. Canadian Peak doesn't say a whole lot, just says, no age statement. It's great, and it evokes the feeling of the Canadian Rockies and, a mountain peak and all that, So that's the whole thematic. But it's bottled in Frankfort, Kentucky at Buffalo Trace, okay? You're not going to see this on the tour. They probably bottle it at night when the tours are over. But it's all right. It's all right. Crack this open. Got it. It's the travel bottle. Put in your suitcase bottle. All right. Don't have to worry about the metal detector bottle. Okay. Where did Mathern's get this? I don't know. I guess probably Republic National. Could have been Southern Glazers. I don't know who distributes this around here. I don't keep up with that so much, but they must have got a great deal if they're retailing it for $8.99. I wasn't going to get it, but then I was like, I can't pass it up. I got to do it. I got to bring it back into the challenges. Well, they're both gold. Now, maybe one is a little darker than the other, but it's close. It's close. It's close. So the youngest whiskey in this is 3 years old. He said, well, that's not really that long in a wooden barrel, oak barrel. You know, it's not that long, but that's the minimum, and that's what it is. That's why it's $8.99. If you get the one for 8-year age, it might be $13.99. Are there more than one Canadian peak varieties out there? Probably, because I was looking, like I said the other day, I was looking at that Tom Moore bourbon. I should have bought that years ago, and they had it on that special for $12.99 a handle. But I was like, no, I'm gonna get it later. So naturally, it went up. But I was looking at Tom Moore. I said, boy, and then I was about to say something to myself, and I was like, yeah, Tom Moore, 3 different varieties. He's like rum cask and cognac cask or whatever they were, and they were like $69. So the Tom Moore was $14.99 for a handle, great price, right? And then the specialty versions was $69.99. They probably are weird. I'm sure they probably are a lot nicer. Now, is it the same Tom Moore that's special treated? Well, yeah, probably. It probably age a lot longer. But I mean, you can't get everything, so no use worrying about it. But the same thing with Black Velvet. There's the 3-year, there's the 8-year. Do they have some that are even higher than that? That could be around that they don't post on the website. I wouldn't be shocked. Now they talk about the flavored ones on their website. The salted caramel, the apple, the what is it? The vanilla or something. Froze up. I froze up, or you froze up? I'm not showing frozen on my end, but you know that could be different on your end. Greetings from Winter Park, Colorado, Jake. Thanks, Claude. Usually it'll show me, it'll say froze up, you know, if it happens. Okay, remarkably smooth with hints of caramel, vanilla, coconut, and rye spiciness. See, the thing about Black Velvet is they blend it, then they age it. Most Canadian whiskeys are aged separately. The different whiskeys, like the grain whiskey, usually corn, doesn't have to be corn. The rye whiskey over here. Then they got the malt whiskey, like in Scotland, they call that single malt whiskey over here aging. They could have wheat whiskey aging and so forth. And then they'll blend them together after they age and then bottle them. But Black Velvet does it backwards, but they say that's the best way to do it. They blend them all. You mix all the ingredients together and you eat it fresh. It's good. But if you let it set in the fridge for 3 days, then you heat it up on the stove and serve it. Then it's going to be a lot better because it marries in the pot. And they claim their whiskey marries, all the different whiskeys marry in the bottle after 3 years. Now, after 8 years, it's going to be a lot better. You know, well, they claim it. Black Velvet, toasted caramel, apple, peach. Oh yeah, the new peach. It's a new one, peach. I think they have more flavors than that, but they're not showing them. Just like Seagram 7, they'll show a few flavors on the website, but then you go to the store and it's like, well, wait a minute, that's like 5 flavors. You know, it's not 3. Yeah, I thought the screen was fine. A lot of times, well, sometimes it'll freeze up on their end. I'm not saying I'm using a high definition camera or anything. It's only 720. Well, it used to be high def, you know, when I bought the camera, but that's a long time. But, you know, and then they'll think it's me. All right, in Ontario, Glenfarclas is 15 is a great Scotch for the price. A lot of lesser malts are the same price, usually only available around Christmas, says Joe Cobb. I'd like to try that one. Bud Fox says my end, sorry. Oh, well, that's all right. Okay, here we go. Canadian whiskey, then tomorrow it's single malt Scotch because we did the Irish whiskey blended. That was tough. Well, it was tough as nails. It's giving me a hard time, you know, but it was a challenge. And I mean, I don't mind a challenge. I would rather get 9 right and 0 wrong instead of 5 right and 4 wrong, but it's the way it goes, I guess. It is the way it goes when you got products that are so similar one to the other. Ugh. A lot of grain spirits here. I want to tell you, say, you mean corn liquor? Yeah, that. But if you look on the Black Velvet website, they use grain spirits, but they age them first for 3 years so they can turn into whiskey. That's what happens. But then they got what they call rye high wine. It's like super high proof rye whiskey. They call it high wine. It's like 190 proof. I mean, you could not drink it. And they got malt, high rye malt, I think they call it. Maybe some wheat or something, but it's then they water it down to 80 proof. I mean, they're not gonna put 190 proof in it. But then they marry them together, like I said. Now Canadian Peak, I don't know. I just know it's blended probably in just a regular old way. So aroma, is it real different one to the other here? No, can't say it is. Well, okay. Maybe the one on my right to your left, my right, is a more wood oriented, let's say more oak barrel. Okay. Okay. Let's go with the taste. No need to belabor it with Monday Night Football coming up. With the Giants and the Vaqueros. Yeah, that's standard. That's just like a standard Canadian whiskey. And what does a standard Canadian whiskey taste like? Well, grain, cereal grain, vanilla, a little rye, a little oak. I heard a lady talking about Crown Royal today at a store. She was like, Crown Royal's so good. Why they got to add flavors to it? Crown Royal's perfect like it is. Why they got to add flavors? Apple and cinnamon and so forth. And I'm thinking, well, some people like all that stuff. She obviously just wanted the regular old Crown. Well, that's fine too. It's the #1 selling whiskey in America of any type. Could be a little bit more vanilla. And wasn't wasn't I saying that the Canadian Peak had that vanilla cream thing too, just like that Kavanaugh Irish whiskey? Okay, so $8.99 versus $15.99. Which one's is it a clear cut winner with the double the price? Oh well, not quite double the price. Sorry, 99 is 18. Still, pretty big jump. $8. I mean, you could pay $8 more if you like. You get a real cork and a wooden cap and a prettier bottle, but I'm not seeing yet at this point. I'm not seeing a big difference. Yeah, a lot of wood, grain spirits, just grain. It's like, let's all go eat some cereal. Well, that's what you're drinking it. Okay, which I'm not opposed to, and I don't think that's a negative. Some people say, oh, grain spirits, that's a negative. It's not a negative. I mean, think about it. It's grain. They grow it. They harvest it. They ferment it. Then they distill it. It's not really a mystery. And that's why it tastes like grain, because what it is. If you eat cereal in a bowl, it's grain, but it's not fermented, it's not distilled, but it'll have similar, it'll have that cereal flavor. It's like beer. Beer will have, just look at the production of whiskey. They make beer first, but there's no hops in it. See, so it's all sweet. It's so sugary sweet. They always say that on the distillery tour, but it's so sugary sweet, meaning you wouldn't be able to drink it. Well, I guess some people, I probably would, but there's no hops to give it the spice and the bit. But they're not making beer. That's just a step towards the whiskey. Okay, comments. I gotta put my hand over this because I don't want to mess it up. Crown Royal Peach is delicious, says Claude. Well, it must be because a lot of people buy. Odd question: do I like sushi? Yeah, it's pretty good. Um, Canadians don't drink Crown. We export. Oh, really? I'd like to look at the statistics on what's the top selling whiskey in Canada. To tell you the truth, T9008E Ed. Hey, Ron. Hello. I've moved from Norfolk, Virginia to Nome, Alaska. Mostly vodka and only shifty bourbon. Hating the life. Haha. Well, sorry. Nome, Alaska from Norfolk, Virginia. That's quite a jump. I've never been to Alaska, but I have a first cousin once removed upside. My father's first cousin once removed on the upside. They moved to Alaska probably 50. I'm gonna rescind that. Probably 45 years ago, and they don't want to come back. They like it, They don't want to come back. My daddy, my father's like, well, okay, if you want to live there. I'd like to visit because there's only two states I've not been to: Alaska and Hawaii. The only two I've not been to. I've been to half the Canadian provinces, and there's two American states I haven't been to. Been to every Mexican state that touches the U.S. border. If it touches the U.S. border, I've been there. It was fun, I wasn't too impressed with the liquor prices and that, but what do you mean by on the upside? What I mean is because she's my first cousin once removed, but she's up. She was born in my father's generation. Upside. See what I'm saying? If my daughter has a first cousin, that's my first cousin once removed on downside because they would be younger than me on a younger generation. I'm contemplating moving back just for a shot of 101. Oh, you're just kidding now. So whiskey is just distilled beer? No, not exactly, but sort of. But you got to watch the videos where how they make it. It's not as simplistic as that, but Alaska's cool, remote wilderness, so I dig it. Yeah, well, see, there's trade-offs. There's the up and the down. There's the good and the bad. Any state. All right, I think I know which is which, and I'm not. I'm really happy though, because when I first had Black Velvet, and I had a whole 750 milliliter bottle, went through it. It's gone. Glass bottle. This is the plastic travel bottle, PET. Polyurethane, something. But I don't know. To me, it just had like a harsh bite to it. I said it's smooth. They claim how smooth it is. It's smooth as silk, smooth as velvet. I was like, to me, it's smooth like sandpaper. But today, it's not. It's not coming across nasty like that. So I don't know what the deal is. Has Heaven Hill improved it? Man, I bet you Heaven Hill never changed the recipe in any way. Black Velvet's too popular for that. I mean, it's one of the top 5 Canadian whiskeys. They're not going to mess with that recipe. They're just going to bottle it. So I don't know. It's probably me. It's my end. It's like Seagram's VO. You really think Sazerac bought Seagram's VO and changed it? Seagram's VO, which is like millions of people every day drink that. Everybody knows about it. They're not going to mess with that. You wouldn't think, unless they're crazy. So I'm going to say this to Black Velvet just because I'm not getting that vanilla cream. I got it right. Yeah. Well, I'm happy. But I'm going to say this. I got it right, and I could tell them apart, but it was a big effort. And no. I am not detecting an $8 difference. So would I pay $8 more for the Canadian Peak? Only in this case that I had never had it and I wanted to try it. Okay. Which is actually what I did. But on a normal buying, routine, if I say, I drink I don't actually, but if I say, oh, I drink Canadian whiskey all the time, I'm gonna buy a standby. Well, I mean, I'm trying to say, if I could get black velvet for $8.99, hey, guess what? I'd just buy that. Would the Canadian Peak be a little bit better? It is a little bit better. It's a little bit better. But I'm not paying $8 more for something that's maybe $2 better. And that's arguable. Okay, last comments. I live in Kansas, and I'm sure Kansas is fine. I've been to Kansas a couple of times. It seemed fine to me. It was a lot of wide open land. Dirty Diggity says Blue Horse loves. I don't know what they're talking about. All right, the Dixie Base Man says good morning. Good morning. Where are you in Thailand? All right. Shane Cantrell says shout out to my homie Jay, the wellspring of knowledge. Yeah, well, others would not agree with that. All right, Canadians don't drink Crown. Yeah, I find that very hard to believe. It's like people tell me, in Mexico, nobody drinks Corona. I've been to Mexico so many times. Guess what? I see people drinking. Yeah, you got it right. Bud Light and Corona. And Tecate a little bit. But I'm telling you, I see Corona everywhere. And I see people coming here from Central America, Mesoamerica. They buy Corona so much. And, Modelo too, of course. All right, so that's it. Be back tomorrow, but it won't be Canadian whiskey and it won't be Irish whiskey. Oh, no. But it'll be from another realm, because Northern Ireland is part of the United Kingdom, and Canada is a realm of Charles III, and so is Scotland. I don't live in the Commonwealth. But I used to teach history and geography. But we got single malt Scotch, which is so exciting. People love it, including me. And I got the Finlagen. I could do it right now. I swear I could do that video right now. I'd be so excited, but I'm not gonna do it. But tomorrow morning at dawn, Finlagen, the I don't know what they call it, something reserve, special reserve, or what, I don't know, whatever they call it. It sounds better than calling it the base model, because Finlagen's got like 9 different ones, probably more than that. It's what they're showing on the website, And the one I'm going to do is age 6 years. Finlagen is age 6 years. When I tell you the price, you're going to say, you're lying. You're lying. I'm not lying, and I didn't get a great deal on it. I just got a deal everybody can get if they go to that store. So, hello to you, Maxwell. He retracted the message. Why would you retract hello? Well, now we pressed the wrong button. But that Finlagen. No way I'm going to get it confused with any other single malt I have. I'm telling you right now, I am. Oh, hello to you. Hello to you. I am not going to get it confused. I will not. It is not going to happen. But it's going to be so nice. Oh, so very nice. Now, and then it's going to be the same thing, because I'm going to bring in, when I do the blended Scotch after that, later in October. What are you talking about? I'm bringing in Cutty Sark Prohibition Edition. That's what it's called. It's funny, huh? Cutty Sark Prohibition Edition. Hey, that's 100 proof. The black bottle, black label in a black bottle. The glass is black. Well, it's really dark brown, but it looks black. They call it black. Oh, man, that is going to be so great. I've never even tried it. I know it's going to be great. I love Cutty Sark, the regular old Cutty Sark. I can say that right now. But the black Prohibition Edition, 100 proof, it's going to whip everybody. It's going to whip them, beat them up, knock them down, punch them, and knock them out. It's going to be like, down goes Johnny, down goes Johnny, down goes Johnny. I don't know, but we're going to see. I think that's what's going to happen. All right, well, thanks, everybody. And that's what's coming up. Got single malt and blended Scotch, and then it's off to brandy. And I got an exciting brandy from Ukraine. You say Ukraine? Oh, that's topical. Yeah, that's why I got it, because it's from Ukraine. All right, thanks everybody.